I'm not going to lie. This sweatshirt is a 3X. Team issued to my husband. Why? Well, because nothing else fits. So, let's get this podcast started. Welcome back to Not Gonna Lie, a Wave original brought to you by Liquid Death. Yep, sounds scary. It's not. It's just the most outstanding hydration in a crisp can, nice and cool. They also have iced teas. Just saying. I'm your host, Kylie Kelsey. I'm tall. I'm an Aries. I'm pretty sure. And I'm officially a minivan driver. Yep. It happened. Do I look pleased? It's actually a really smooth ride. And the girls are so excited about the fact that the doors open without anyone touching them. And they can climb in and out by themselves. And the positivity surrounding it is annoying, including my own. I don't want to talk about it. I'm not ready. Whatever. Coming up on today's episode, I was inspired by a TikTok that perfectly sums up being 38 weeks pregnant. So I'm going to share my personal late pregnancy challenges in Doom Scroll of the Week. Then I'm going to be joined by someone I may just have the least business talking to in the entire world. The former First Lady, Michelle Obama. We also have some NGL award news. Not Gonna Lie has officially won Best Emerging Podcasts at the iHeartPodcast Awards. You see, I told you guys to vote for Kayla. But thank you so much. I am honored. I will say, as much as I was rooting for Caleb, our whole team at Not Gonna Lie and Wave, they deserve this recognition. So this is not a me thing. This is my team thing. Queen Emma, Queen Nicole, Greg, Brad, they're the people who won this award. So I really, it's them. It's not me. I'm just the talking head. Moving on, this week, I doom scrolled my way to the perfect TikTok that sums up what it's really like to be 38 weeks pregnant. And as someone who is currently right in that area, let's just say this hits. From John Hartman 1 on TikTok. Queen Emma, roll the clip.
I just cut my underwear off because I didn't want to take my pants off. And they are now in
That's
the trash.
Perfectly logical. First of all, he thought he was doing something by trying to expose her and her really, honestly, smart and logical decision, okay? He thought that he was going to be like, oh, people, this is absurd. And I didn't dive into those comments, but I'm going to let you know my own comments. Power to you, girl. You can always get another pair of underwear, but the idea of having to bend over to get it down past your knees, we're not doing some wiggle nonsense to get them down without really like getting them over your knees, right? There have been some ridiculous times that I've had during pregnancy that are similar to this. I can't say that I've ever cut off my underwear. But I have had times where I will disappear and come back in like a robe or a dress. And Jason will be like, why did you just change your clothes? And I have to explain to him that the feeling of anything touching my belly in a restrictive way, aka a band from pants or underwear, is too much to bear. This is also right around the time as women that we start Googling ways to induce labor. That's right. I've said it multiple times to anyone that I've spoken to. I'm doing sprints next week. You can't stop me. Fortunately for all the listeners, I have asked my OBs about the most common methods, stuff like drinking herbal teas, eating dates, acupuncture, spicy food. Oh, how I wish. I will say my OBs have explicitly told me no castor oil. So if that comes up on your induction suggestions, the ways to induce labor at home, opt out. I'm going to tell you the reason I was told not to do that. Very simple. A simple explanation. I'm not going to get into it. You know what I mean. I was told it makes labor messy. Ain't nobody got time for that. We're not doing that. Before I wrap up this segment, you're getting a doom scroll double feature because I doom scrolled my Instagram so hard I landed on a photo of me that seems to have resurfaced. I posted this years ago, but an Instagram account at Kelsey Brothers just reposted it with the caption, "You think Travis and Jason are impressive? Meet Baby Kylie." That's me. That's legitimately me. When I posted this photo, I posted it with the caption, "A couple weeks ago, my grandmother asked me," mind you, my grandmother at this point in her life had dementia. "How big were you when you came out?" I told her that I was 12 pounds, 1 ounce and showed her the picture. And she laughed and said, "I knew you were huge." Thanks, meme. I weighed 12 pounds, 1 ounce when I came out. And this photo is not distorted. That is genuinely how round my face was and how little visibility I had. I have been told that at the time of my delivery, the doctor who delivered me, I was his largest baby he had ever delivered. I have since been dethroned by a 14-pounder. I'm not bitter. I'm a little bitter. I want to talk to that mom. Really, I want to make sure she's okay. My parents, I don't think were very surprised that I came out that large. My sister was 9'5" and broke her collarbone on the way out. So the minute they told my mom that I was going to be bigger, my mom said, that's a forward exit. That's an exit. I want you to just whoop, slice me open. I'm pretty sure that Jason, I don't know about Travis. I'm pretty sure that Jason was 6 pounds, some ounces. He was a little bit early. I want to say, I'm going to get this wrong, but I've heard conflicting stories from Jason, Donna, and Ed. So I'm just going to go with the average. I would say he was about 2 weeks early. Don't quote me. I don't know about Travis either, but I do know that Travis was definitely like the chunk in all of their baby photos, was definitely like the chunkier kid, which clearly he stretched out. And same. It's that second kid. We're built tough. We had the same situation with Ellie. Wyatt was 8'7", Ellie was 8'13", and she was just built sturdy. And I swear that it was the universe trying to make sure that she could survive Wyatt. And I stand by that. And that does it for Doom Scroll of the Week. You guys know that I'm very passionate about charitable efforts. We've been trying to make sure that we can tie those into Not Gonna Lie. And I'm not gonna lie, the best we could come up with for a segment name in a pinch was Charity and Yap. That's right. I'm about to yap about a charity that I feel very strongly about, an event that is called the Night of Too Many Stars. And alongside that is an auction. Jason and I have submitted an auction item. You can actually win. I don't know if it's winning, but you can win an opportunity to go to dinner with Jason and I in Philadelphia. And if anyone knows about the food scene in Philadelphia, at the very least, you might be having dinner with two very dull individuals, but the food is guaranteed to be outstanding wherever we choose. The event, Night of Too Many Stars, is a live comedy show benefiting autism programs all throughout the country. It benefits the foundation Next For Autism, started by the Smigel family in New York. They have a personal connection to autism, and the funds raised support NEXT For Autism's national grants programs focused on initiatives that support autistic adults in the areas of work, home, and social well-being. Anyone who works with the neurodiverse community knows that one of the most difficult transitions to make is from school age, which oftentimes will be until an individual is 21 years of age, and transitioning them out of school into the workforce or living independently. So NEXT For Autism makes it a point to support that community. I have actually had the opportunity to attend the event last year. It was outstanding. The comedians that were there were so funny. And it was so encouraging to get into a room where so many people had dedicated their time and volunteered their humor for such an incredible cause, something that you guys know is very near and dear to my heart. And I am so happy to have another opportunity to support a foundation that is doing great work in the autism community. If you're in the New York area, the Night of Too Many Stars is Monday, March 31st at the Beacon Theater. Tickets are still available. We'll put the link in the description. And if you'd like to support a great cause, you can donate at nextforautism.org. Apart from their delicious ice cold refreshing mountain water, the other thing I love the most about Liquid Death is how much they don't give a fuck if I swear during the ad. They don't care what I do. I'm chomping on gum like a cow. So Dad, Big Ed, plug your ears because I'm about to seize the fucking day and let the curse words fly as I talk to you about one of my favorite brands, Liquid fucking Death. Damn, this feels good. They make funny ass commercials. The cans are cold as fucking hell. The most badass way to drink water and stay hydrated is to drink Liquid fucking Death. Liquid Death water doesn't fuck around. Liquid Death also doesn't fuck around when it comes to sugar. Their soda flavored sparkling water and iced teas have way less sugar than other brands. And I shit you not. Their cans say death to plastic because Liquid Death cans are infinitely recyclable. Infinitely. Okay, Dad, you can come back. Liquid Death is available nationwide, literally fucking anywhere you shop for water or iced teas. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Sorry again, Dad. And for all the Not Gonna Lie listeners, they're giving $2 off any 2 6-packs. Just go to liquiddeath.com/Kylie for details. She's the former First Lady of the United States. She led public health and education initiatives like the Let's Move campaign and Reach Higher. She's currently the founder of the Girls Opportunity Alliance. She's also an author, podcaster, wife, and a mother. I cannot believe I'm saying this right now. Michelle Obama, welcome to Not Gonna Lie.
Hey, Kylie, look at you.
I'm not going to lie, Mrs. Obama. This is a pretty surreal moment for me. I feel like we manifested this a little bit.
I think so. That's how it works, right?
Yes. But I have always been such a fan of just sort of the way that you carry yourself and it in sort of the election cycle and where it hit in my life. It was like the first time I was able to register to vote at 18.
Wow.
Was the first election that I was able to vote for your husband, but then seeing you as a powerful figure alongside him as a partner was like such an outstanding image of like female empowerment. And I just remember that at like 18 years old, that it sits in my brain really heavily. So I'm so excited to get to talk to you. I want to start off by talking about something that you just announced, and I'm so excited for you. You have a brand new podcast with your brother Craig called IMO.
Yes, I'm following in your footsteps. I mean, you're killing the game out here.
I don't know about that, but we're winging it.
Yeah, well, that's the fun part of podcasting.
It is.
It's this is the first time we've entered into this space in a major way. I did a podcast after my first book, Becoming, which was really based more on the sort of focus of the book, the story of my life in the White House. But this is a bit different because it's a lot more free flowing. IMO, it's in my opinion. So, I mean, I think a lot like you, it's like you're finding they have a lot of questions. Times are uncertain. People are always looking for some kind of answers because I think we think someone's got wisdom out there. And it eases our minds, I think, if we can just talk about this stuff.
Now, how far apart in age are you and your brother?
We're about a year and a half, so we're really
That's so awesome.
Yeah, we're close. We've been close from the very beginning, and we also just lost our mom about a year ago, and so it's kind of strange that we are now the elders. I mean, when you lose both your parents, and we lost our dad earlier. We were both in our 20s when my dad died, and my mom has held it down for us through all these crazy parts in our lives, the White House years. She got us through those years. But when you lose your parent, you're always kind of wondering, what on earth do I know? My mom is not here anymore. And, I don't know about you, but I'm just now feeling kind of like an adult that knows something,
But does it not feel like it's all of the wisdom that she has imparted on you?
It's there, but until you activate it, you don't realize that it's just been there brewing all along. I find that I'm having that conversation with the girls now. I mean, my girls are, they're adults. They're living on their own, if you can believe that, going from these little girls that people saw on the stage at the first inauguration. They're grown women in the world, but a lot of our conversation now is like, when do you feel like an adult? When does it happen? They think like, is there the magic switch that makes you say, yeah, I'm adulting? And I was like, no.
Yeah, I haven't. It's not there. I still on my fourth child, I'm like, how am I old enough to have 4 kids?
And when you leave the hospital with that baby, you think, are you guys for real? You're letting us?
No one's going to monitor this? Yes.
And you're going to let us get in a car with this precious baby?
Yes.
I think the sadness or the postpartum that I felt with my kids really came from, like, you love these babies so much. Immediately you're connected and you think, oh my God, all you have is me.
Yes.
I feel so bad for you. I wish you had a parent.
Right?
You deserve more. Because I don't know anything, and now I'm in charge.
This is like my inner dialogue.
It is, and you're doing it a 4th time. I just had to stop. I was like, I think I've been lucky with these 2. Barack was like, we should have a 3rd. And I was like, dude.
Well, 2 good sleepers, I'd call it too.
I'm thinking we're going to get a crazy one. It's just the roll of the dice. So I admire your courage. You're on number 4, and yes. you don't know what you're going to get.
No, it's always a toss up. I call our first initiation because she didn't sleep for the first 6 months of her life unless she was touching another human being. I'm like, maybe that's why I keep going. I'm like, that was bad. I got through it. It is always a toss up. You're like, I don't know what this one's going to be like.
Yeah.
We're about to find out.
And they show you pretty early. They're like,
right away.
I have an attitude.
That's it. Our oldest, I still remember the second day in the hospital, we had all the grandparents were in the room, and she just decided to let her rip. She was screaming at the top of her lungs, and I was laying in the bed as a first time mom, like, how do I stop it?
Where's the off button here?
And all the grandparents were like, and no one knew they were like, do we intervene? What happens here? And that was the moment I was like, oh, yep.
No one knows what they're doing.
No, right. But she's taught me a level of patience I didn't know I had. And she's like, she's going to rule the world. She's going to, Yeah, I'm excited to see what she does.
Yeah. And you have girls too,
All
all
girls.
girls.
All girls.
That's because that's what your husband deserved.
Yes.
Something in his life. That's what I told Barack. I was like, the karma was like, dude, you need a bunch of women in your life
to
just to
take care
smack
of
you
you.
around.
That's it.
No, to do a little smacking around.
Oh, when I
too,
say
right?
take care of you, I mean like
to
handle
literally
you.
take care
Yes,
of
like
you.
handle you. People kept sending me a clip online. Someone, there was a news outlet that did a report on girl dads and how they live longer.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, of course they do.
They
have women being like, are you serious right now?
Are you going out like that?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Are you going to say that?
Are you okay? Get it together. Yep. He now has 5 of us.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He and Barack need to talk.
That's it. Now, you, of course, raised your daughters in the White House.
Yes. Woo.
I don't know about you, but my kids draw on the couches, the walls, the stairs, everywhere. Did you have any moments in the White House where, like, your girls were true kids, and you were like, "Oh crap"?
Yeah, because they've lived in the White House longer than they lived anywhere. I mean, they grew up in the White House. All right. So you're thinking the little years, like when you have full control, the younger years when you have control, and the worst thing that they do is write on a wall.
Draw on surfaces.
Yeah. My kids were teenagers in the White
Yes.
House. I mean, those years were just like, okay. You want to go where and do what? And there's prom, and you got to learn how to drive, and you have to be normal, and you're going to a party, and was there alcohol, and you have agents, and now you have a boyfriend, and trying to do all that, right? And allow them to be normal kids, right? Just the process of making sure they knew how to drive when they have been driven by men in armored cars with guns, because they had full details,
right,
their whole life. And so I'm trying to make sure, because at the end of this 8 years, they don't continue to live that life. So when we entered, I'm thinking, how do I make sure that they're normal and ready when this is all over? Right. And they have to get on a bus and make their own plane reservations and live in an apartment and have decent friends and be sane in the world. And you start realizing that in the teen years, because I wanted to give my girls enough rope to live and be normal teenagers. But I was also worrying about them turning up on page 6 because they were doing what normal kids would do.
Without that many eyes on them.
And they grew up with social media, which was different from any other of the younger kids who had grown up in the White House. When you think of Chelsea and Amy Carter and even the Bush daughters who were in college, but it was really Chelsea and Amy who were kids, but there wasn't social media, right? There weren't cameras everywhere, every party that they'd go to, we'd have to build a real community of trust around them, so that, because I didn't want them sitting home on Saturday night, not understanding what it was like to be out and have a life before they went to college. Right.
Right.
So it was really those years,
that were the stressful ones.
I mean, it was
forget the crayon on the wall.
I'll take some crayon on the wall,
a magic eraser will handle that.
And I think Sasha was driving one time, because once they got their license, I told the agents they have to drive. Right. I'm sorry, but you only learn to drive by driving. Yes. You can't learn it through osmosis in the back seat of an armored car. So once they got their license, we got a car for them. And then the agents had to figure out they have to follow this teenager now to school, to parties, and it worked out. But one time, Sasha got T-boned. Literally, her car totaled. Some lady T-boned her. And you get this call that Sasha was in an accident. The car was totaled. And then I thought, ooh, I hope the lady that hit her is okay. Could you imagine, right?
Yes.
You T-bone like Sasha Obama.
Yes.
And then their agents. So I'm also like thinking about them in the world, right? So, the day-to-day kind of challenges that any parent has with teenagers, we had it on 100.
Amplified.
Right. Yeah. So I longed for the days when,
I do not envy that.
Just right on the wall, will you? We can wash that off. I was so glad when we got out of the White House. Not, it was just like I wanted them to have the freedom of not having the eyes of the world on them. I mean, they still are dealing with paparazzi and being who they are and trying to, cover up their own identity. But they got a lot of practice in those years in the White House. And so when people ask me, would I ever run? The answer is no. I mean, you then if you ask me that, then you have absolutely no idea the sacrifice that your kids make when your parents are in that role. Not only am I not interested in politics in that way, but the thought of like putting my girls back into that, that spotlight when they are just now establishing themselves. It's like, okay, I think we've done enough. Question asked and answered. Never going to happen, right?
That's such a true mom answer that like, you're like, how will this impact the really your kids? And
they've already been in, they've already served their time, right?
In very formative years. And you were very tactical about how you approached that. And so to then do it again would be,
it would be unthinkable.
Nope. Nope.
Nope.
I've told you guys how much I love my Liquid Death mountain water. It's because it's in a can, honestly. It's so refreshing and stays so much colder. I'm convinced. But Liquid Death has more than just water. They also have a ton of great soda-flavored sparkling waters and low-calorie iced teas. Speaking of which, another reason why I fucking love this brand. Their drinks have the best names. I have a list in front of me of every flavor, so I'm going to do what any normal sports fan would do with a list, and we're going to rank them. Within the soda-flavored sparkling water, Dr. Death. I mean, does it get more aggressive than that? Squeezed to Death also is a great one. And let's be real, Killer Cola. Get straight for it. In terms of the teas, I personally really enjoy Rest in Peach. I think it sounds dark and delightful all at the same time. And Slaughterberry. Because if you can put the name Slaughter in anything, I feel like you've leveled up, achieved greatness. Slaughterberry. They actually printed that on a can. Just outstanding. Liquid Death is available nationwide, literally anywhere you shop for water or iced tea. And for all the not gonna lie listeners, that's right, bargains. They're giving $2 off any 2 6-packs. Just go to liquiddeath.com/Kylie for details. One of the reasons you're someone I look up to so much is because you're the perfect example of a woman making a name for herself beyond what her husband does for work. So I'm such a supporter of your Let's Move campaign and the work you did to promote healthy eating and exercise for kids, because obviously being someone who was physically active growing up, I really saw a point in eating healthy, fueling your body, and focusing on just moving. Mm-hmm. Why was that cause so important to you?
Well, I experienced the challenges in this environment of fast food and more sedentary lifestyles and all that my generation of parents were facing that was new, that was leading to a childhood obesity crisis. It was real, and I saw it early on as a working mom with my husband traveling. He was a state senator when the kids were little. Then he was a U.S. senator. So he would, like I had a husband that had to travel a lot, and I had a full-time job. So when you're not a single parent, but when you're,
we called football season single parent season.
Right. As a political seasoned single parent, right?
Yes.
You're relying on juice boxes, doing a lot of processed stuff, trying to get things quick and easy. And I saw the effects on my daughter, primarily Malia at the time, because the doctors were saying, whoa, let's make sure that we're thinking about her diet in a way that I hadn't. I was buying what was being sold to me, right? The conveniences of parenthood, right? And that had an effect. So we started making changes that were really simple, no sugary drinks. We had the kids drinking milk and water. They were always active. We cut out all processed foods, no more cheese dust in a box. If you were going to have macaroni and cheese, it would be real pasta, real cheese, just small common changes. And within months, her health numbers flipped. And I thought, oh my God, here I am, this highly educated person out in the world with all these degrees. And I didn't realize that we were facing this kind of dilemma. And I thought, now this should be something that everyone should be able to get behind, creating a healthier generation. Because I was also thinking about my platform, and it's like, okay, I don't want to do something divisive. My husband's going to be pushing healthcare. I was trying to be strategic about aligning my agenda with something that was important to the West Wing. And I thought, there's no way that anyone is going to take issue with trying to make school lunches healthier, getting kids more active, really just trying to make the next generation healthier than ours. And boy, was I wrong, which is really interesting in these times with the current, Secretary of Health and Human Services, who is now saying some of the same things that I was saying. But it became a partisan issue. People were telling me that, I'm trying to be the nanny state, and I'm trying to control what our kids are eating and telling them what's good for them and what's not good for them. Now, eventually we got a lot done. We were able to improve the nutrition standards, the labels, so that they were more readable, so that parents could really understand the breakdown of fat and sugar, and it was clear. We got the school nutrition standards improved in our schools for the first time in like 50 years. There hadn't been any updates. And we were really focused on making it fun, getting kids active, reminding parents that, we got to make exercise fun. So we had a lot of amazing partnerships with the NFL, and, we broke the Guinness World Record. I planted a garden to, try to get people more focused on making vegetables a little more fun and interesting for kids. But it was all about really dealing with a real health crisis that at the time, a lot of people didn't take seriously.
I think it also is so important to take your own life experience to see that switch with Malia. Yeah. And it makes that sort of messaging and effort more authentic. And I feel like people can tell when you authentically feel passionate about something.
Absolutely.
So that, I still remember the different initiatives you guys did and programs you put in place for specifically like movement and getting kids active, and definitely remember all of the school lunch changes because they were obvious.
I think your generation talks about nutrition and movement in a way that my generation didn't, especially as women.
Yes.
No one focused on us as real athletic beings when I was coming up.
Yep.
And that has totally changed. And I'm so, so happy to see folks like you benefiting from Title IX and really embracing all of who you are, your power, your strength, you know.
It feeds into all of the things that are happening right now with women in sports. Specifically, you have obviously that women are more encouraged to participate in sports. But then on top of that, the way that we're able to talk about food in conjunction with that, the way it nourishes our bodies, the way it fuels you to be able to have the energy to play your sport, and then also the way it fuels your body in a way that we're not trying to be slender or slim or fit in a certain size, that we're trying to be strong, powerful, athletic, finessed individuals to be able to perform our sport and do what we love. And so these are those Let's Move initiatives are directly impacting the way the conversation has been steered up to this point and the direction we're headed in. Raising 4 girls right now and knowing that those conversations are happening because you started those conversations then is such a beautiful thing.
We just have to make sure we don't backslide on this stuff, right? I mean, because it can happen in the blink of the eye, where we turn back the clock on a lot of this stuff, and we're really thinking about your girls, right?
Yes.
You know, they should have more opportunity than we have. They should have more knowledge, more information. And this is something that I don't care what your political party is, but as women, as mothers, as parents, we've got to be mindful of what some of this rhetoric might do to turn the clock back on a lot of really important progress, to give girls, acknowledge the power and the leadership that are inherent in all of our kids, especially our girls.
Absolutely. Now, I've been looking forward to talking to you about something we have in common. We are both 5'11".
Oh, yes.
And
normal, what I say, normal height.
Well, it's funny. I have a friend who's about 5'4", and she wears a size like 6 shoe or something. And whenever we would joke around about it, she's like, "I'm average size." And I'm like, okay.
No, you're wee.
You're tiny.
They're wee.
My mom's only 5'2". My grandmother was like 4'9" and
Where'd
even
your
smaller.
Height come from?
My dad is 6'9".
No,
so
whoa.
Hard
and
overcorrect.
And I'm not gonna lie. Doesn't it irritate you when the wee people take the tall guys?
Do you know the number of conversations? My sister's 5'9", I'm 5'11". When we were in high school, we would always complain about, well, this girl's like 5 feet tall and she's dating a guy who's 6'5". You can't save that for us. And my mom would always be like, "Hello, excuse me."
See, I don't know. I would have some issues with your mom. I'd be like,
we gave it to her. Let me tell you, she did not come out unscathed. But she would always stand up for herself. And it's, you know what, to be fair.
For her little self, she'd stand on her toes.
That's it.
She'd look up and say, "Hey."
That's it. Now, I always talk about how being tall shaped me growing up. But I'd love to hear more about your experience. Were you always comfortable with your height? And was that where did that start? Or was it something you had to learn and grow into?
I think it's a little bit of both. I was always kind of a tomboy, having a big brother. I was always trying to keep up, and I always found what the boys were doing were more interesting, right? And we had cousins who were 2 boys that we were close with, some of our favorites. And so I'm the only girl. And my father raised me. It's like, if Craig is learning how to do something, you're going to learn it too. So my dad was a boxer. So he got us both boxing gloves because he was like, "You're going to learn how to punch." And Craig had his larger size boxing gloves and I had my little ones, and we do these spars, and I could always hit him harder. So I was fast. I loved to run. So I was taught to embrace that part of me, so in my home, I felt tall. I felt proud. But then you go out into the world, right? And before Title IX, being a sporty girl wasn't a thing, right? Like, what do you do? I don't think there was any place for my parents to put that gift, that interest, right? I took dance lessons. I was trying to be more girly, and girly meant you were smaller than the guys. And then as you got older, you found that, guys would be lying about their height, especially because I grew up in basketball culture, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because my brother played everything, right? So, and I dated a lot of guys on his team, because those are the guys I were meeting. So I would meet some taller guys, but they were always lying about their height.
A roster height is at least 2 inches.
Roster height. Yep. For men, it's like 6'2".
Yeah.
You are not 6'2", not if I'm 5'11".
We're eye to eye, dude.
We're eye to eye. Maybe you're 6. But that roster height,
yes,
boy, So I look at somebody's roster height, and then so they try to make us feel crazy. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, no, you're not 5'11". It's like, no, I'm exactly 5'11".
I have no reason to lie about my height.
As an adult, I have now grown to love it. But I came up in a generation that like there wasn't the tall size, right? No. So the worst thing about being tall without the tall sizes is the pulling up your sleeve because your sleeves are too short.
Yes.
Everything is just a little too short.
You always look like you're expecting a flood.
Exactly. And I'm just sort of like, come on, people, a couple of more inches because the littler ones can hem their pants.
That's it. I always told people when they told me they were envious of my height, I would always say, well, careful what you wish for, because I can't chop off my feet and make my pants fit, but you could wear heels and have your pants fit. Yes.
And I love a heel, right?
I do not shy away, especially in my adult life. I do not shy away from a heel.
Neither. My girls don't either. They're like, they've got to get over it. You know? So, Sasha loves a big chunky heel, and Malia too. They love their big chunky boots.
Good. I do make it a point whenever I meet tall girls, especially younger girls, who you can tell are just sort of like they have the slight roll to the shoulders.
Yep, just sort of.
They're trying to look an inch or two shorter. I'm like, stand up straight.
Stand up straight.
Stand up straight.
The other thing that's hard, like especially when I see myself in conversations with people, I still have that because I'm trying to hear them.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yep.
So you're tall. And people are
you're
talking
a mile away.
There's a conversation going on down there.
Yep.
And you're like, I'm sorry, I can't hear. It's not traveling up.
Yes.
So I find myself in pictures, I'm leaning over.
Yes.
And I hate that, but I can't hear them down there.
Yes. I also find that oftentimes if I'm talking to someone shorter, I will physically take a step back. So that it doesn't feel like I'm
like just hovering over, like I'm going to eat you alive.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Fee, fi, fo, fum. Yes. I cannot thank you enough for getting on today and chatting. It has been such a pleasure.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine.
I am so excited.
You're doing this thing. Really, truly. And I'm here for you. I think what you're doing and how you are showing up in the world is just what we need right now. So it is.
Thank you.
It is truly, truly a pleasure. We will do this again because we didn't even scratch the surface of all that we talk about, and just keep being you.
Well,
truly,
everyone can check you out. You and Craig out on IMO. It's available on YouTube or anywhere you get your podcasts. I cannot wait to tune in.
Give me some tips when you hear, let me know.
I'll tell you, I think everybody knows the other podcasts in our household. I love a sibling podcast because there's nothing like that connection you have with your siblings.
Yeah,
so
no one can give me shit like my brother.
That's it. That's it. That's what we need.
That's right. That's what we need. Right.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And good luck. Keep me posted.
Thank you. I need it.
Number 4. I want to know who she is.
Right.
I can't wait. Right. Take care.
Thank you so much again to Michelle Obama for joining me today. You can check out her new podcast, IMO, every week on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can find even more clips on my YouTube channel on More Shit Monday. And that's a wrap on another episode of Not Gonna Lie. I'll be back next Thursday with a brand new episode. Listen to It's a miracle I can say any word. All of the blood in my body is going to my uterus and not my brain. I'll be back next Thursday with a brand new episode. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow the show on all social media at NGL with Kylie. Not Gonna Lie is a Wave original brought to you by Liquid Death. Thank you guys again for tuning in.